We got paired lion from Brazil to 237. Oh, waiting for him to move, and I'm white. Yikes. Good start. Good start. I guess the clocks don't run on the first move. I'm so confused here. Alright, so let's play now g3 again. I was kind of hesitating between, I guess d4 is still legal here. Transposed to something different. They're probably gonna play d5, I suppose. I mean, it's not required, but feels like e6 is setting that up. Plant the bishop in some kind of a way here. And always you're maybe threatening to push. If you play d5, you could turn this into some kind of Benoni-like structure with the push, or maybe take here at some point, or you can keep your pawn there. Because I don't think the bishop particularly has a point at the moment to come out. So not sure what this does apart from setting up d5. I mean, of course, it's good to open the bishop up. I mean, maybe your setup is going to be bishop e7 and something else like that, but I expected d5, and that is what happened. And now we could play knight f3. Some kind of a semi-Catalan. Okay, now they're setting up their triangle here. Bishop is, of course, completely unhappy here, but it has prospects eventually here. And the worst thing about life here is that black is definitely at least able to take here and kind of like say that, oh, I'm gonna have a pawn and I'm gonna keep it. That's not what we wanna see. Well, maybe. I mean, of course we can take instantly here, but never been a fan of Bianchetto, where we instantly give the pressure on the center up. Feels this guy is then gonna just stay here and be like, I don't know, black can take either way, I think, and they're fine. Very hard to put pressure there after we take instantly. So I think I'm gonna, well, I'm debating between queen c2, just simply defense, or what, or well, I could play b3. d3 is a little because then we have to maybe chop and allow this kind of nonsense. Even though it might be okay, but I think I'll put my queen to c2. I don't really see a reason why it would not be decent there. There's no bishops coming here. The pawn is blocking the knight, so it's not gonna... Oh. As soon as I said it, I realized that maybe they could go on this side to harass my queen, but it's probably not such a big threat that we should be worried about. We can always move the queen, or even play a3 preemptively and say no. But my plan here is to play castles in some order. c4, maybe knight d2, not sure, but do we do something with the bishop first and then e4 and build on that center? Should we do it in some kind of let's hurry kind of a way, or just castle first and say, at least now we're completely safe, and now we can do our tinkering in the center and not have to worry about the king getting caught somewhere nasty. Like whenever you start pushing these, you have to always be ready to meet checks if your king is here. Not that they were problematic to begin with. Of course, we could play it in a completely different way. This was my plan, like d4, bishop, knight here, there. I don't want to play knight here because then it blocks the queen. So it's a bit funky there, but whatever. But we could play it in a different way and play b3, set the bishop here, double fianchetto, and something in those lines. So I guess we have to think what's black's plan. I feel like they are at some point gonna take on c4. And if I have no other defenders of c4, I have to take with the queen, then we might get b5. Even of course, that's very risky play with the bishop here. What else? I feel like this is good. Otherwise, or seems like a normalish plan. I mean, of course, if I play d4, they can at some point play c5 and challenge the center instantly too. I don't know if they could play for e5 somehow, like knight bd7, e5, and get that big center. I mean, definitely not if I play d4. Alright, I'll play d4. I was kind of hesitant of playing cb3, and then I feel like maybe they'll play the d4. And then, okay, it's kind of like a Benonist kind of structure starting to build there, and my queen is probably not the best on c2. Even though, of course, they have wasted time there. And probably with this too. Okay, so d4. And, well, why even speculate? Let's see what my opponent does. I mean, of course, I could set my bishop up here before I try to bang in e4. Have it participate in the world. I don't know if I want it. To be honest, I don't really know where I want that guy. Another plan could be play b3 and trade the bishop here, because that is their good bishop. This, it is my bad bishop. It's not clear it's a bad bishop but I feel like it is because we have a pawn there, and this make it always a little awkward to find squares for the bishop. So at bd7. So I think they might be ready to like bang and play c5. There goes the center. I mean, I could always take once. How would they take back? Probably with them e-pawn, right? Just open this up. And also if you take with the c-pawn to keep the symmetry, then you have to be a little careful with the bishop sneaking to c7. But I don't really see why I could not take that way. Okay, I'm gonna go with b3. I still haven't given up on this plan, but I'll add this plan or that plan. Those are not really plans, but they're kind of like micro plans. That does not stop me from trading the bishop away. Is that a good trade to me? I feel like it's a good trade, but in a general sense, that good bishop, bad bishop sense. In a sense that we are definitely kind of, black is a bit cramped. You could argue that trades just help them, so it might be a bad trade. If your opponent has like a bit of a traffic jam going on there, they don't have a lot of space, trades are probably in their favor. On the other hand, it is something. Now also my knight would be horrible on a3. To waste a lot of time getting into a civilized again. Maybe here, just to support the world. Nah, I give up on both plans. Whatever. I don't know about that. But that's how I play chess. This was the original plan, but we supported it with an extra pawn here. And the bishop still like is trying to choose his path in life. I don't really know if he's gonna go left or right. Just stay put. Yeah. I mean I don't know what the black's supposed to do here. He has to start chopping things up and opening things up. Or just maneuver pieces humbly around here, but the knight maneuvers here, they go absolutely nowhere. And opens bishop looking up all the way to the e-pawn. So I think something like there, or maybe b6 and try to get the bishop here, and maybe then they can open this up. Alright, so that is what they chose. And I guess it kind of goes into my plan too, like if I push there, they may chop, and I might chop, they might chop, and I might chop, and then the bishop is already here hitting my queen. Of course, it's also kind of handily hit by the knight too. Anyways, let's go. I'm not gonna give up on the dreams of the big center just because the big bishop is gonna be bothersome. No, we're just gonna go. Have to take that back. They took back. I'll take back. Now I expect somebody to hit the queen. It's not ready yet hitting my queen. But, well, I have a move here to spend because the bishop is definitely not defended. So I'll just put my bishop here. I think it belongs here. Out of sight, but kind of looking into the world. But yep, this is the moment of truth, I think. Where is my queen gonna be cozy and safe? I'm thinking e2. Is that true? We are on the rook there. And even though it looks very hard to open that e file up, it is always possible. We could go to c2. Even e3. I was looking at the knight jump there, but again, it's just one knight jump. Then we could go here and the knight would be stupid there. Of course, e2 you're, or like I said, on the rook, but also maybe on this bishop at some scenario somewhere. Except I am kind of thinking of bringing the rooks here and here. Or I do like the rook e1 too, because I do see something cooking on them. f7 and taking here. I'm gonna be weird and drop it to e2. I don't know if it's weird. Seems like a logical square. Then I don't know how to set up the rooks though. Like this way. Guess that is also a legal way. Don't really seem like the way though. I think I wanna rook on d1 just to say hello to Mr. Queen. Or Mrs. Queen. Or Miss Queen. No, this is open up. If I take, then the bishop is opened up. How likely is the c file ever now to open though? Because I kind of wanna just put the bishop rook here. I think they are gonna put the queen here, so I kind of wanna put the bishop rook here. But I don't see how it would ever open up though. So, I guess there is some argument to be made about the If I go to d file, everything is gonna get chopped off there eventually. Like, I don't know. I haven't given up on this dream too, so I'm gonna save one rook for the e file. Save the rook here. I mean, a kind of annoying square on e4 too. But anyways, we are definitely threatening this. So I'm kind of anticipating takes. Well, anticipate all you want. That does not lead to much, does it? We could take here now that the bishop is not taking because of the double there. I mean, I assume that might be a double there. Might be actually kind of okay for back two. We would get that bishop there. A knight jump here is legal, but then these guys get chopped. I'll just put the rook here. Not sure why, but it's there. Let them do their things in the I guess there is something bishop b4 annoying. I guess taking with the rook is legal. Freeing the d1 square for the rook, other rook if bishop is coming here. Would also avoid the bishop trade if I take with the knight and... Okay, this is semi-weird. And also it gives the tempi on the c5 and like maybe something is gonna be annoying here. I mean that is very, very true too. I don't wanna take with anything. Let's not just leave the pawn there. Whatever. If it gets traded, it gets traded. Oop-de-doo-doo. Woohoo. Alright, so that has to be some kind of a bait, right? Knight takes e6. He's just gonna move the bishop and then my stupid queen is pinned to the knight. If I take... it's not far away that it would work taking here. I would like to be on the pawn there. But here, bishop here is annoying because it hits that one, pins the knight, so I don't really have time to hit, for instance, this knight because I drop the pawn, and if I take here, the knight jumps out and then there's nothing to target. Yeah, it is probably a bait. And also don't like the king being open here. Otherwise I might try to sneak somebody there. This is definitely coming here, trying to pin this, so I'm gonna go here anyways. I'm gonna let him check me all the days of the world. I guess I can block with the queen. That is legal. So he can go here, and this is not gonna be a fork because he can get out of the fork with the check. And then move the rook somewhere. Interesting, interesting. Well, I'm just gonna slide out of the checks. And then, I mean, this seems actually kind of good. The bishop seems incredibly strong. That's no longer a check, so let's take the d file under control. Not sure about this move. I can also throw that checkmate threat somewhere there. Should probably think about it a little deeper, but like I said, it's not my worry. So we have to be very careful that we don't somehow let the knight sneak to an f3 somehow. But since the bishop is covering that square and the queen is covering that square, it's unlikely. Just gonna go here. My idea is to actually say them, how are you gonna defend that? Also, that guy, but that's besides the point. So he gives me a fast pawn. Well, I'm gonna say thank you. This does give him a square there though, but that's the price I'm willing to pay. We can, for instance, threaten the mate and bang in the c6 after something like f6 here. I can just support the pawn too. Then I have to be a little worried that this dude does not sneak here. Okay, I'm gonna allow it. He still has the same problems that he has to be very, very careful how he... I guess he could also go there. No, yakai. Here. I think I'll go here. If he goes here, it's not really stable. I'm gonna go there. Oh, he gives me this with check. That is definitely wrong though. That is definitely wrong. I have this move here. Guess he has the queen here hitting my rook. So I cannot really take here. I guess we can hit their queen with the rook though. No checks. The knight is hanging. I don't really see how that would stop me from doing anything. So I think I can just take there. No check, and I mean, I can take here. I can take here too. I'm tempted to take here. Rook goes back, rook goes here. This should be a done deal. But yeah, this, we can play here and it's over. But also it's not really threatening anything anyway, so it is fine. Now my opponent started to think. It might be too late for that. He asks for a rematch, but usually it's better to analyze your game than play a new game. Let's open the book up, look from the beginning. English opening. G3. E6. Bishop goes to here. Yeah, the d5 is just, I think, the only move that actually makes sense here. Knight f3. And they played c6. It's a move. Most players play bishop e7, so I'm kind of trying to get the queen's gambit declined. Or take here. Some kind of a Catalan, semi-Catalan without the d4, where white can castle, white can go take their pawn back instantly with queen a4. And we are in kind of a Catalan, but without the d4 played, so it is what it is. Queen c2 is played 20% of the times. b3 is the most played move here. Guess it's not that of a, well, I feel like d5 is still, but since he has played both moves here, it's unlikely that they are gonna play d5 though. Because eventually you have to support that and then you're wasting a lot of moves. But it might be okay too. What does Mr. Machine say? Here, c5. b4, e3. Instantly starting to hit the pawn chain here. I mean, both are ideas from the Benoni. We are playing a Benoni with the colors reversed. Alright, so I played queen c2. Let's open the book. Castles, okay, most played. Castles, most played. d4, most played. b3 still is there. Another plan. They played b6. Then I played b3. I don't know if I needed to move this here and waste time with my plan, but... Oh, sorry, didn't play... They would knight bd7 first. And, well, here the same thing. Those are the moves. Rook d1 is also a move. I think I've played that one too. Rook e8. That is... Like, maybe it can be done, but... It's not obvious that it's gonna be useful now. They have a bigger problem at the moment with the bishop, so getting these guys out and striking the center somehow. Apparently also b5 is a legal move here. And not that unlikely. But computer likes b6, black is fine. Okay, how bad is this one? I rejected this based on the principle of don't trade while your opponent is kind of cramped. Even though I would get a decent bishop. This their dark squared bishop were all their pawns on the light square, so I feel like it's a good bishop, but I felt there is conflicting principles. But I could have put the bishop b2 here. Kind of support things first, but it was pretty well covered and nobody's really attacking it ever a second time, so b6 most played, d4, few games. Bishop b7, I don't have to move yet, bishop b2, knight f6. We are playing game like these guys. Imad Haki, Farag Mohammad. They played queen e2. Always nice that you're following some strong players and you're playing the same moves as they, but this felt natural. I've seen this similar position. Queen is pretty well placed there, but it's pretty well placed anywhere, says computer. f4 apparently is even the best square. But e5, e2, whatever. I assume even c2 is fine. Yeah. Even though I don't think I'm gonna have... Well, never say never. Maybe one day we could have like the Catalan tactics here. If they, for instance, open this up, we could chop and then play the knight g5 stuff here. Not only threatening the bishop trade, but also taking here and the mate. It's not mate though, but at least taking on h7. Alright, so how are we supposed to put the rooks? Computer says rook a d1, right way. Doesn't really care which way you put them, but queen c8. Yeah, probably queen c8, c7 would have been more normal, but because I don't, well, you'd have the rooks connected and the rook on a file could be free to go somewhere. And I don't think you need the queen c8. Sometimes if this was open diagonal, you could think about that. I don't know, maybe he believed that I'm gonna bang here and somehow you would get this here. It's not even possible at the moment, so unlikely, but maybe he thinks that's my idea in the long run. This would kill it. Who knows? I took with the knight. Computer actually takes with the rook. I wanted to do this, but I was discouraged by the not knowing where I would have to put the rook here, because there is... I wanted to take with the rook to double, and like I say, there's not a good square. Here we get squared here. Of course, if I go back, then I'm not doubling anything, and Here there might be some harassment here, question mark. But also there is knight g5 to keep track of. So I took with the knight, easier. Oh, sorry, computer said that just stick the rook to f4 and white is somehow really doing well, which is not a move I would consider. Covers the knight jump, the bishop jump, and maybe threatens to actually win a pawn here. But still looks weird. Yeah, this was the downside, but it was an annoying bishop to be there anyway, so probably had to go. Yeah. I kind of wanted this square somehow, and also this, but so let's see, does this work in any sense? No, just computer says no. You're just done here. Can't attack the counterattack the other knight, or because my knight bishop is hanging, my knight is hanging. And if I take there, I'll take away their only target, and then only my hanging knight remains. Not good. So we want to stick the knight there, but since there are still checks, it was a little dangerous. Okay, this felt it's not going right. Like there is not much to do here. Not much to do here. Except you can block some kind of a mate threat here. So safety move, king out of the checks. They attacked my knight. I jumped in. Chop chop. I don't know, maybe they should start trading the rooks or something. No. Or even here, right? At least have some coverage here and be fighting for those files, but only we can just go here. Threaten mate. F6. We can take here. And if you take here, I'll just take here and win. Yeah, bad luck. Bad luck. But yeah, here I'm at least in full control of the open file. Hard to challenge now. Trying to sneak to those, well, also taking a look here, but trying to sneak to those checkmating squares. C5 is good. Apparently rook d7 would have been much better, but queen somewhere. Let's go to c8, why not? Threatens mate. If he does the f6, then we can apparently just bang, bang, bang. Go there, it's mate. And if you go there, it's gonna be mate this way. They can throw away the knight, but actually they can't even throw away the knight. That is pinned. So both ways send in a mate fast. Okay, I didn't see this one. Probably should have looked, but I didn't really look too deep. C5 looked too good to pass pawn. How bad can that be? Here I was thinking that I'll threaten mate and push c6 instantly there, but apparently also fine. I thought this is super safe. I saw the knight could jump there, but also saw some big problems in that line because I still have the 7th rank and the mate threats and not easy to deal with. Queen c3 somehow is much better, but whatever. Still taking here. Yeah. Here, the computer says that this is best for black. Still bad. We go here, they go here. And now if I do g4, which I thought is good, they can now kick me out of the mate and then move the knight somewhere. Where would we even go? Let's go here. Now suddenly black's better. Uh-huh. Yeah, not well. I see how we are worse here. Queen moves somewhere. Well, probably not into a attacked square, but to be honest, where are we gonna go? DE2? Ugly. Best move, run away with king. Get checked. No. No good. Yeah, well, f6 is just hopeless, of course. You lose a knight by force. Alright. I didn't have time to look at there. Apparently there's rook takes g7 or bishop f6 already here. I started to look like, can I have some fun here, but no. But I think I would probably have just played some lame move like rook d7 without calculating any nonsense. Alright, well, what can I say? That was a game. It felt clean, but somehow I made a lot of mistakes though. 3 inaccuracies. 1, 2, 3. Well, since those were all winning inaccuracies, I don't care. 1 mistake. Queen here instead of here. Okay, those all seem very irrelevant. Anyways, let's look at our opponent's inaccuracies though. He made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inaccuracies. Never move a knight, I think. 1 mistake. Queen here. It was done anyways. 1 blunder here. It was done anyways. Alright, well, that was that. Thanks for watching and ciao.